Welcome back, everybody. I'm tired. I mean, Jay, and that's Maddie. This is week 13 already.
Yeah, welcome in to week 13, guys. And the Dallas Cowboys are back, baby. The best team in the NFL. Clearly, they've beat the last two Super Bowl champions, the two teams that went for the Super Bowl in the space of 4 days. So the Dallas Cowboys, this our year. We them boys. Let's get this going. I'm obviously joking and a bit over the top, but
I waited until you finished. I did feel like mute you in the middle, but I waited until you finished.
No, but what a Thanksgiving, Jay. Some great football in the Thanksgiving games. The Detroit Lions went up against the Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys went up against the Chiefs. The Ravens went up against the Bengals. And after that, we got the Eagles against the Bears as well, which we are going to go through and review before heading on to our Week 13 Sunday preview show, where we go and bet every single game against the spread, finishing off the show with giving you our fantasy players of the week. Me and Jay going up against each other in fantasy so far this week, and the swing looks like it's going more towards Jay because I have a wide receiver I have a wide receiver every week that scores lower than 2 points, and it changes wide receiver as well. So it does. So you know,
you obviously didn't look at my side because I have only had one person hit there projected, and it was Aubrey. Okay, only guy on my team. But I need this win more than you do because I got to win out to make the playoff, to even have a shot at making the playoffs. Yeah.
And I lost that. I think I've lost that first seed basically after first week. I haven't seen what Payne's doing. But guys, if you want to join our league at any point, then you can message us next year.
Payne beat you by letting his shit auto set his lineup.
Yeah, when Christian McCaffrey was on your team,
he forgot to go set up his lineup and still beat. I was like, that is ridiculous. Because you got a good team, so the fact that you lost, but you got a good team, so the fact that you lost and he forgot about it is wild.
Yeah, I'm going to go find Raheem Morrison, and I'm going to go shout at him for saying, why not give Bijan Robinson the ball more and more and more? And he just refuses to give Bijan Robinson the ball. But Jay, let's get into those Thanksgiving games. The Detroit Lions came a cropper up against the Green Bay Packers. Jay, were we a bit harsh on Micah Parsons at the start of the season? He's really started to tick up for the Packers.
Wait, you were harsh on Micah Parsons. The only thing I said is I don't think he makes them a Super Bowl. I don't think he sets them to the Super Bowl. But I did say at the end of this could be a win-win. My whole thing is I just defended the Cowboys because I thought they got a lot of heat for a trade I thought was good for them. But here's the thing. Mike is one of the greatest, one of the best. I don't want to say greatest because that sounds career-wise, right? And we're not there yet with him. But he's one of the best defensive players in the league. But like everybody, he does have some weaknesses. Shocker, Packer fans. Like, we've watched over the years, you run at him. He's kind of weak in the run if you run right at him. But, dude, the dude comes off the line like he shot out of a fucking cannon. There was a sack in that game where I was like, how the fuck did he get there in 1.5 seconds? Like, he was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, Micah Parsons in that game got 2.5 sacks, and he is joint top of the league with speed pressures at 15 speed pressures so far this season. That basically means getting pressure to a quarterback within a second and a half or something, I think, speed pressures. The other two on that list that he's joined with are Will Anderson and Nick Bonito. And considering, Jay, when I said I was harsh to him, I think we both said that the trade, once you calmed me down and you said this could be a win-win, I was like, do you know what? Yeah, this could be a win-win. I think the trade overall Micah to start the season, I think just didn't show up. I think you watched him against the Packers, like with the Packers versus the Cowboys game. I don't think he really showed up for that game. Like he got given the one sack on Dak Prescott, but really that was a tackle. Dak basically made the line again and had started running, but he wasn't really showing up, and then all of a sudden he's just stepped up again, and obviously that is to do with the injury, and he clearly is a great defensive end and will continue to be so in the league, and the Packers look really good on that defensive line with him in there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It won't be next year, but it'll be the year after to watch the Packers try to figure out how to maneuver a tight salary cap, because that is not something they're used to. They are not used to paying guys like this, which is shocked us all to begin with, right? Like when the Packers decided, like, hey, we're going to go out and get Micah Parsons, but it shows the policy era in Green Bay is going to be different, which is why at the beginning of the year, a lot of us were like, and it wasn't just me and you, if the Packers don't play well, like good enough this year, will they walk away from their front office and their coach, which I thought they might with the moves they made. Not that LaFleur was bad, but that over the hump we talk about. But from what I've seen this year, he's there. He's sticking around. LaFleur ain't going nowhere, because even if they get bounced in the first round, I think they've shown that it's not the coaching. I don't know if they'll get bounced. That's not me, Packer fan, saying you will get bounced in the first round. I'm just saying if it happens. Packer fans are brutal, especially to a Vikings fan. So I thought I might just put that out there.
I think where the Packers have got themselves in is into the salary cap position that the Dallas Cowboys had themselves in. They basically just where you have a quarterback that's earning the highest amongst the highest in the league, and do you know how good that quarterback is? Is he worth the highest pay in the league? Dak Prescott becomes worth that amount of pay when you know he's got less expensive pieces around him. And the Packers, if they want to go forward, they still need to go get a weapon at wide receiver and stuff like that. But this was a great game for the Packers. They really put it on Jared Goff. And Jay, what has happened to Jared Goff under pressure? Because last season he was one of the best in the league under pressure. And this year, the 2 games he's faced pressure, he's really struggled.
I'm glad you asked. Because I was really watching the game. And I'm sitting here and I'm seeing Dan Campbell on the sideline covering his face, calling him plays. And I'm like, you're really not good at this. You're really not good at scheming guys open. Like, we're watching the Ben Johnson effect right now. Because, you know, when they get hot in play calling, like, you know, they are hard to contain. But this year, we just watched them play a game. If Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't go off for a career game, they're not going to win that game, right? So, like, the fact is, the thing that made the Lions so deadly over the last couple years is they completely play like a team, 100%. They get it down the field, they spread the ball around, and they figure out how to score points. With them this year, they're not getting the ball out, and they're not scheming people open. So I have to assume it's Dan Campbell in the play calling, because Jared Goff can play. We know that. I don't know the statistics. I should have looked these up. But I feel like St. Brown is having the most down year I've ever watched for St. Brown in a league.
He definitely had a down game, at least. He completely went missing.
Fucking freezes.
Completely went missing.
Freezes.
I know. I saw that. I thought I'd better reply. I thought I'd better send a reply to that and say he was going to be in next season, just to give us some credit. I think with St. Brown, he definitely went missing in that last game. And I agree with you, Jay. It is the Ben Johnson effect. It's Dan Campbell wasn't scheming the guys open, and he didn't look like he knew what he was going to call next. With Ben Johnson, you feel like each drive, he basically knows what he's going to call as they're marching down the field. And that's why Caleb Williams looks so good in the scripted plays. It's why he has some drives where he looks amazing, because Ben Johnson's drives work that way. They build on each other. They build up to the drive. Dan Campbell looks like he's calling each play as it comes, like each play for the play, not for the whole context of the game. And I think Ben Johnson made Jared Goff look probably a bit better than he is against pressure last year. And Dan Campbell's putting Jared Goff into situations where he looks a lot worse than Jared Goff is against pressure as well. And in this place, they didn't have anything open whatsoever. And when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you should be able to get one of those two guys open in short passing yardage to go against the blitz. It should be doable.
And like you said, not only is he not knowing the next play, great play callers, Shanahan, fucking Johnson, whoever, they're setting you up for shit in the fourth quarter, in the first and second quarter too. They're running because they know we're going to run this play, and if we're successful, they're going to bite on the same play later in the game, and we're going to do a variation off of it. And you're not seeing this from Dan Campbell. Like you said, it's play to play, and it doesn't seem like he's got a roadmap for where he's trying to take the plays later in the game.
Yeah, and it's with that, it happens on where he's going for it on fourth down all the time. Like, he's not taking into the context of the game a lot of the times when he's doing that last week. The Lions now dropped to 7-5. They've won 2 out of the last 3 games. And that game against the Giants, they only win because Jahmyr Gibbs goes absolutely off in that game as well. That was a solo performance from Jahmyr Gibbs. But they only scored 9 against against the Eagles as well in a loss there. They're 7-5. Their next game is the Dallas Cowboys. They then have the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings, and the Bears to go. Jay, are the Detroit Lions in danger of missing the playoffs here?
I don't think so. I don't think they're in danger yet. They still have a chance to win the division if they play right. They still, if I'm not mistaken, they still play the Packers again at the end of the year. So it's not
they play the Bears at the end of the year.
They don't play the Packers again in Week 16 or something?
No, they played the
them twice
first
already?
game of the season.
Oh, yeah.
They played them twice already.
Okay. That's why it gets weird when you play the first week of the season because they're used to bringing you at the end of the year with all of those games. Yeah, they still have a chance to win the division, though. I don't see them missing the playoffs. Because I think when I went through their schedule, I saw 3 or 4 wins for sure that I thought of on the way out. And I'm like, 10 wins probably gets you in. Unless you're in the AFC, I think it's going to take 11 to get in the AFC, which we'll talk about a team that's probably going to miss the playoffs now because of a game this weekend. But
yeah,
I'm not worried about the Lions yet, but that's because they're so fucking talented on the offensive side. At some point, you think they're just going to get it together.
Yeah, well, they've got the Cowboys on Thursday night, which could go either way. It's in Detroit, but Detroit playing a bowl, so we'll see. They've then got the Rams in Los Angeles. They've then got the Steelers, who you never know what Steelers team's going to come up. But let's say we give the Lions the win there. Let's say we give them the win against the Vikings in Minnesota on Christmas Day as well. And then they've got the Bears to finish off the season. So they could be the third. They realistically could be the third team in the division. They could be the third team in their division. They could skip into the playoffs, but they are in danger, I think, of missing it here. And from where they were to where they are now, Dan Campbell's job has to slightly come under question here because the big difference that we've already spoken about here is Ben Johnson. It is Ben Johnson. He is the one that is missing. He goes to Chicago. Chicago are now top of the division as well. But Jay, two teams that are going either way, maybe one making a run for the playoffs and one maybe missing the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys went up against the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Dallas Cowboys came out with the win in a great game, an awesome performance by the Cowboys. Jay, how has the defensive tackle become the new defensive end? Because we can see across the league, the teams with those strong defensive tackle rooms are doing great across the entire league defensively.
Yeah, but it's not new. It's the history of the NFL, right? Every team with a good D tackles have a better defense. I mean, we watched Minnesota for a decade in the 90s dominate because of their tackles, not so much their ends. The problem is it's not that they're the new ones. It's that they're so hard to find. D tackles are so hard to find in the NFL. So when you have a good one, I mean, we can go back to when Warren Sapp changed the game with the D tackle position in Tampa. It's not that, you know what I mean? It's that good D tackles are probably the hardest defensive player to find. And I know people are like elite pass rushers. Yeah, but I can go through and give you really good pass rushers across the league, some of them 2 and 3 on a team, whereas you look at the defensive tackles and you're like, oh, he's a run stopper, but he's not a pass rusher, or he's a pass rusher, but he's not a run stopper. I think D tackles get asked to do so much that when you find a great one, it changes life for you. And I think that's what we're seeing, is that the teams who have really good ones are having better, pressure on the quarterback. They stop the run better. So I think we're seeing an uptick a little bit in D tackles. I still think we're really lacking in D tackles, though, throughout the league.
Yeah, and I think when you it's the same in sports. It's just generally the same across life, but it particularly shows in sport quite a lot of the time. A new trend is very rarely new. It is very rarely something that hasn't been tried before. So what happened is the D tackle goes out of vogue because everybody's going away from the run. Everyone's going away from the run. So not everybody needs amazing D tackles. The college kids then go, if I can rush the passer, the big payday is at defensive end. The colleges put their best athletes at defensive end as they go through, because everybody's passing the ball now. We're not running the ball. So D tackle, you just need to be able to stop the run if it's coming that way. And then all of a sudden you get the Eagles come along with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis right up the middle, and they basically win a Super Bowl by doing that, pass rushing through the middle. And it obviously makes loads of sense. If you can generate pass rush up the middle, then it's much better than getting pass rush at the end. And now everybody is trying to shift to get in the D tackles again. So now the D tackle is coming back into vogue and is becoming the most important player on that defensive line. And to me, the Dallas Cowboys trade for Micah Parsons into what they went for was recognizing defensive end not as important as defensive tackle. And they've come away with 2 great defensive tackles, and they already had a decent one on the books in Odigizua as well. And then they've let Micah Parsons go as well.
I get what you're saying. I just didn't like the way that was worded, right? I think it's prioritized because it's harder to find. But I don't mind it. I don't know why that just gave me this weird irk down my spine. But I was like, it's this thing where
Cowboys,
Well, I'm just saying, I was going to say the Cowboys. You look at them. Good defensive tackle. When they're healthy, that's where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get you, because they can blow up the center of the line. But again, I think finding good D tackle is, you know what? It might be the second hardest position in the league to find behind a good quarterback.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys have particularly struggled to find D tackle. They've been struggling at D tackle for forever. For as long as I've been watching them, the Dallas Cowboys have struggled at D tackle. So going and getting those D tackles was the right decision. And then Donovan Ezra played really well in this game as well.
Sorry, I was just saying, finding a 320-pound guy with that kind of athleticism, right? That's the
the pass rush D tackle you can't find. And they thought they had it in Mazi Smith, but they then asked Mazi Smith to trim down his weight, which, the whole thing of Mazi Smith was he's just huge in the middle. But anyway, so the Dallas Cowboys can now go. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, Vita Vea is a different level again. But the Dallas Cowboys are now able to stop the run, which is what they did against the Eagles. They're able to stop the run, and they're then able to get to the pass rusher. They stop the run on the way to getting the pass rusher through the middle. And Jay, with the defensive tackle and just the defensive line that strong, and everybody's talking about the offense and how great the offense is in Dallas. But with a defensive line that is now that strong and that deep, we saw Jadeveon Clowney coming up with a sack. Overshown looked great. Donovan Ezra was getting pressure off the edge. And then you have Quinyon Mitchell. I wish we had Quinyon Mitchell at cornerback. But we have Quinyon Williams, Odigizua, and Kenny Clark as well coming up the middle. That defensive line is now got depth and is stacked. And it doesn't matter how bad the secondary is. The defense is actually capable of beating anyone as well. And to top that off, Donovan Wilson has come back in and is having a great game. And Malik Hooker has come in and has had a great game as well. So the safety position is now stronger as well. So the Cowboys are getting healthier at a good time. And having a defense like this makes you able to beat anybody, not to mention the other side of the ball being one of the best offenses in the league. And Jay, with that, the Dallas Cowboys could make the playoffs. If the Dallas Cowboys win out, they'll be 11-6-1, which should really be enough to get them to the playoffs. At 11-6-1, you would assume that they're able to get there. Jay, if the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs and the offense continues to play the way it's playing, should Dak Prescott be in contention for MVP?
Sure, but they're not going to give it to him.
Who does it go to? If the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs and Dak Prescott doesn't get it, who does it go to?
As long as he doesn't throw 4 picks in a game again, probably Sam Darnold. But there's a lot of push for Matt Stafford to get it right now, too. And here's the thing. It's not even that Dak doesn't deserve it. I just don't think they'll give it to him. I think Dak has a reputation of being like Dak. And so unfairly at times, but I think that ends up hurting him in it. Not that he isn't deserving. I just think that we use writers to vote on this, and it becomes a weird thing then. And also we've seen where, not that Dak's like this, but we've seen that guys say something and piss off writers, and then they don't give them the award they're supposed to get too, right? So trusting writers, I think, is the problem, because unless there's a clear cut MVP, we're always going to argue over who it should be, or, why did this guy get snubbed? And then it becomes, unless it's a rare circumstance, it's really a quarterback award. So then we're arguing which ones. Just from what I seen, I think Stafford and Darnold have the edge, but I think Darnold will have another game where it'll kill his chances of it. So we might be talking Stafford and Prescott at the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, what it'll be for Dak is Dak's a game manager. He needed George Pickens. He needed CeeDee Lamb. Like, obviously against Kansas City, CeeDee Lamb looked great again. So that's an important step up as well. And that's what they'll say. And then they won't acknowledge that Matthew Stafford has Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and Sean McVay calling the plays behind him as well, and they won't say that on the other side. But that's what they'll say about Dak Prescott.
Hey, but Dak Prescott
will be deserving of it if he carries them.
But Dak Prescott got sawed off shoddy. I'm just saying.
That's right. That is right. And he is balling out as well. But Jay, let's head to the other side of the ball now, because the Kansas City Chiefs are in serious danger of missing the playoffs. Yes. Jay, what has gone wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs this season?
I don't know. They're just having one of those un-Chief-like seasons. We've seen this. We've seen the Patriots have a weird season here and there. We've seen different things. Even though the Patriots on a bad season still figure out how to make the playoffs with Tom Brady. And I'm not sure that the Kansas City Chiefs are making the playoffs this year. I said that I thought they would last week, but now I swear they have to win out to even have a shot. Me looking at the – anything can fall apart, another team can crumble, but like they literally look like they have to win out to have a shot at a wild card right now.
Yeah, it's the tiebreak situation for the Chiefs. Like, they've got losses against the teams that they'll be going up against in that wild card spot, because they have that loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, for example. That probably will really harm them as well going in.
Now we're looking at it, and yeah, Denver's probably going to win that division, but it's still possible for the Chargers to win that division also.
Yeah, definitely. So the Chiefs have got losses against the Jags at the start of the season. They've got that loss to the Chargers. They've got the loss to the Broncos as well. They've got to play the Chargers and the Broncos again in the coming weeks. But the Chiefs now have to go through the Texans. They have to go through the Chargers again. They've got the Titans. They've got the Broncos, and they've got the Raiders. Like, that's a difficult situation, and I'm not sure they're going to make it. And where the Chiefs have really struggled is they haven't put a good game together on both sides of the ball regularly at all. They've really struggled to put a good game. So against the Colts, their defense played incredibly well, and they managed to get out of the game versus the Colts with a win, because their defense played really solid football and made the Colts offense really struggle. In this game, Patrick Mahomes played great. Mahomes was incredible in this football game. Like, the Cowboys should have won this game by more. The Cowboys were player for player better, and the offense carried them. The offense looked really great, and Patrick Mahomes looked really great as well. And the defense just completely shit the bed. They got one turnover at the very start of the game, and I remember just going there and thinking, "Fuck, here we go." And then from there, it was 7 drives. They gave up 450 yards, and there was a scoring drive on every single. There was a score on every single drive from there. So the Chiefs and they're just not able to marry each side of the ball up. And if you're going up against teams like the Texans with their great defense, the Chargers with the way they work the ball, the Broncos with their great defense, you're going to struggle. And if they've got to win out, that's going to be a real test for them. Jay, the other game on Thanksgiving was another team that has struggled that nobody really expected either. It was the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens were 7-point favorites in this game and came out as losers. Jay, is this season John Harbaugh's last as head coach of the Baltimore Ravens?
Hold on, I'm going to peacock this game pretty quick here because somebody picked this, and I don't know who that was. Somebody picked this game for the Bengals. Yeah, it wasn't the Bengals, though. It was the fact that I thought the Ravens looked that bad this year, and I just thought they were going to spark from Joe Burrow. I didn't think it was going to spark the defense. I don't know how Joe Burrow coming back played defense, but somehow Joe Burrow coming back changed the defense in that game. The defense locked it down. I think the Ravens actually were exposed, and this is the things we were talking about all year, and this is why we were talking about maybe it's time for them to move on from John Harburgh, because they're not the Ravens we were, all expecting and what we're used to. And Henry and fucking Andrews have been fucking killing me in fantasy. Like, fucking A, you two.
Yeah, again, the Cincinnati Bengals are putting up some of the worst numbers in NFL history on the defensive side of the ball. This game will probably take them out of the worst defenses in NFL history, but the rest of the season, they've been terrible. They forced 4 turnovers in this game. They were giving up 6 yards of play still. The Bengals were still giving up 6 yards of play in this game, and the Ravens only scored 14 points because they turned the ball over 4 times. Like, that kind of stuff, that kind of discipline, those kind of things, that is down to the head coach. And I do think that it is time for them to move on from John Harbaugh, because it is the case of it's the same problems you're getting every single year, the same things that you're struggling with, and they're getting these same problems, and it's about having the same voice in the dugout. It's the same voice in the locker room every single year, and they just need a new voice in there, sort of fresh perspective to move on. And on top of having that problem, Jay, with the turnovers, Lamar Jackson was missing wide open receivers that entire game. Like, he was completely missing people. It was a case of he's like Lamar Jackson was deciding whether to run or not. He wasn't decisive in his time to run because he's coming off those injuries. He wasn't decisive into when he was running. And then that was leading him to missing wide open receivers as well, because he was about to take off. Then he sees a wide open guy and he goes to throw it and he misses it several times. It was a really poor game all over, Jay. And on the other side of the ball, Jay, is the Bengals offense, are they going to cause headaches for teams down the stretch?
I think they're going to be a thorn in people's side. I think it's going to be a problem. It's such a weird season because by this time of the year, you have a really good feeling how it's going to go. And you look at some of these teams and you're like, I'm not sure which team's going to show up, how they're going to play, where we're going to, you know what I mean? It's a weird season this year on these predictions. And it's been shown with these weird fucking point spreads too.
Yeah, they could really cause a team a lot of struggle towards their playoff goals here, because they've got the Bills next up, and the Bills are, a lose against the Steelers this week, and then a loss against the Bengals. Like, are they going to make it into the?
Well, then that's that Joe Burrow effect. That Joe Burrow effect against the Bills. We talked about this last week. There's teams that got other teams' numbers, and it's just weird sometimes. And isn't this the same position the Bills were in? Was it last year or the year before when they had to win out and then they just missed the playoffs at the end of the year with the last game of the season? And I don't know. It's a weird situation.
I think I don't think the Bengals are going to make it to the playoffs at 4-8. Like what? 5, 6, 7.
No, I know, but this is
wins,
where I'm not saying they'll make it. They didn't make it that season either, but they were sitting there at the end still with a chance, and they fucked people's road to the playoffs up. I think their defense is too bad, though. I do. I think their defense is just too bad. That's where I get stuck. But the way they played with Joe Burrow there, I swear Joe Burrow was playing fucking linebacker or something.
Yeah, I think they could really cause a few teams a few headaches. But when you're that good on the offensive side of the ball, you can force teams into mistakes. I think that's it, isn't it? It's if you're so good and you're moving the ball so much on one side, the other offense has to make those plays. The other offense feels the need to have to push it. They feel the need to have to make those plays, and they force you into mistakes as well by being so good. And they could really cause some problems for the Buffalo Bills. They've got to play the Ravens again. They could really cause some problems there, and they could really destroy some AFC teams' playoff hopes there. And Jake, finally on our review of the games we've already had on Week 13, we had the Friday Night Football game after Thanksgiving of the Philadelphia Eagles against the Chicago Bears. I called this as one of my best bets of the week, so I'm going to do some peacocking here as well. The Bears were +7 going into this game, and I think we could see the win here. Are the Chicago Bears a Super Bowl contender?
I still don't think so, but I am really impressed with the way they're playing, and I really like the football they're playing. But they do play games that I feel like the best teams in the league will get them. So they still have me questioning that. But this is still a win for Chicago this year. Like, I don't think anybody thought Chicago would be this way. I don't think Chicago thought they'd be this good. Let's be real. So this is definitely a win for Chicago no matter where it goes. Do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? No. Can they shock the world, though, because they are most likely going to make the playoffs? Could have a home game because they could still win this division. So, yeah, they could definitely shock the world, right? But I think this is a win for them no matter what happens with what we've seen. I still think they're probably a year away from being a Super Bowl contender. But really impressed with what Ben Johnson's be able to do, especially after that awful, 0-2 start. So that's a very impressive what they've done from here.
And it looks like he's got Caleb Williams on side into playing the style of football. But in this game, they managed to win this game pretty convincingly with Caleb Williams playing badly. Caleb Williams had a terrible game in this. He was overthrowing players. He was missing wide open receivers in this game. And I said on the last podcast, look, you don't need Caleb Williams to be that 60% guy. You don't need him to be the 70% guy. But he was way below 50% completion in this. And it wasn't like he's way below 50% completion because he's trying to fit it into tight windows. He was way below 50% because he was missing wide open receivers in this game. And they still managed to beat a good team because of the run game that Ben Johnson generates. So Carmen Nungai went for 130 yards. In this game against the Eagles. Going for 130 yards against the Eagles is incredible for a rusher. I think they do have a sneaky chance here when their defense is picking up. Like, as their defense gets more healthy, they actually were able to play with some linebackers this year in this game. Caleb Williams started to look a bit better. Caleb Williams will have better games than this. He went 17 of 36 for 154 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Carmen Nungai, 22 carries, 130 yards, 1 touchdown as well. So Caleb Williams will be better than this throughout the season too.
All right. The NFL, you're not even an NFL quarterback if you can't throw over 62%. So, like, if you're throwing under 60%, then I'm not sure that you really have a shot at anything. And unless you're Doug Williams, he's the last guy to win a fucking Super Bowl with less than a 62% completion rating on the season. So, like, I don't trust Caleb Williams in those moments. Like, that's the thing. Like, do you trust Caleb Williams in the biggest game of his career, in the playoffs, to be able to throw a team on his back and be like, let's go? And it's not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying he's so young and he's still learning. And to me, it's almost like last year was almost a throwaway year. I mean, a lot of experience, but new coordinator, having learned a new system, Ben Johnson, We see these games from Caleb Williams. I think unless he gets over 65%, we'll never see Caleb in a big NFC championship game. But that's just me. I don't know. That's why I don't trust him. I don't trust that he's the quarterback who can carry you at the time of a game, and that's what you need in the playoffs. You need a guy on that team at times can go, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put you on my back, and I'm going to carry you. I think that's something that he'll work towards, and I'm not saying he can't. I'm just not sold on him in year two to be able to throw him on their back in his first playoff run in the NFL.
The one big positive for Caleb to take away from this game, because he didn't play well in this game and the Bears really won in spite of Caleb, is when it came down to it, scores were close. The Bears were marching down the field on the run. It was 3rd and long. He throws it over the top to Cole Kmet for a big play on the scramble over the top, a really nice laid-in throw to Cole Kmet in the biggest throw in the biggest part of the game. He came big and got a big touchdown for his team there. So I think he can do it in those pressure moments. I don't necessarily think it's a pressure thing. I just think he's not naturally like hitting those. He had a shit game. Like he was shit in that game. So like he played really. He hit a good throw in that last minute, but he didn't play well. And then Jay, the Eagles lost, and that was a rough loss. That game, that was a really rough loss. The Eagles didn't play well. They lost, considering Caleb played so badly, and they still managed to lose in that game by quite a few points there. Is this game on Jalen Hurts? What went wrong with the Eagles in this game? Why did they struggle so much?
It's the same thing that what the fuck is wrong with the Eagles this season, and it goes back to the coordinator problem. There is a coordinator problem in Philly, and we've watched it for more than 1 year. When they have the right coordinator and they're clicking, they look great. When shit's not, and I don't know what they did this season, but their run game does not look the same. And when that run game does not look the same, it puts more pressure on the pass game. And there's been times now, A.J. Brown looked fucking phenomenal being thrown to, like catching them. But there's times these receivers have let them down this season too with drops and all kinds, which has been a weird trend all over the NFL too, by the way. The drops this year has been a really weird trend this year. So I don't know if it's just an Eagles thing, but there's a weird thing. But they're being let down by different positions and at different times, right? There's times where I'm like, oh, the play calling's letting them down. But then there's been times where I'm like, Jalen Hurts has got to fucking hit that pass. He's got to, right? And these are the passes you hit when you win Super Bowls. Like, and there's also a thing where there's some luck to winning a Super Bowl. The ball bounces the right way or whatever. But that's not even the case with the Eagles this year. It's not bad bounces. There's times where you look at teams and you're like, oh, they just didn't get the bounce. It was, they didn't have the luck on their side. But there's something completely different. And Saquon just looks pedestrian for Saquon.
Yeah, and I think with how bad the pass game offense looks and how much they're struggling on that side of the ball with the offense, the offensive coordinator, it means that you can sell out to stop the run, right? Like nothing interesting is coming out of that backfield. There's nothing interesting going to happen. So if I'm a linebacker, it's just, okay, get downhill. Like get downhill, get them into passing yardage, and go there. They've had problems on the offensive line, with injuries as well. But I've seen a lot of people calling Jalen Hurts out in this game. Jalen Hurts was fine. Jalen Hurts got 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like it was a lot of garbage time stuff in that yardage. All of his Devontae Smith yardage was garbage time. But A.J. Brown, 10 receptions. 132 yards, like they were decent. They just got no run game whatsoever, completely zero run game when they need to be going and getting run game to control games, because they also gave up, like they also had no run defense. Like there was no way for them to control this game at all. They gave up 281 yards on the ground to the Bears.
Yeah, but it's in the biggest moments where like Jalen misses a guy by a half, like 4 inches, or you know what I mean? Like it's come on at what point? Yeah. And I know Maddie likes to blame the quarterback for the drops on the receivers because we watched that happen in the Detroit game. He blamed Jared Goff for the receiver not catching the ball when it hit him in the fucking hands. But I'm just saying. I think but that's not it with Jalen Hurts. There was drops this year, but in this last game, I'm watching the game and there's throws that Jalen Hurts makes that he didn't, and I almost blame this loss on Jalen Hurts because there's passes you have to hit, and as the quarterback, when you're not figuring out or when you're not generating enough offense, you have to figure out how to get it done. And I don't think all this is Jalen Hurts' fault that everybody blames him, but I think this game we can put at Jalen Hurts' feet.
Yeah, I think the whole Eagles organization is in trouble. I think it is the offensive coordinators. I think it is the coordinators on both sides of the ball as well, but Jalen Hurts definitely has his questions to answer.
Sirianni's going to get fired a year removed from a Super Bowl. Sirianni's going to get fired a year removed from a Super Bowl.
I mean, like he couldn't he? Because he's look. If the Eagles could miss out on the NFC East title here, because the Cowboys, if the Cowboys win out, they finish 11-6-1, right? If the Eagles lose 2 of their next games, they finish 11-6. So the Cowboys win the NFC East title here. The Eagles have to play 11-7. Sorry, they'll be 11-7. My bad.
No worries. I'm like, we're missing the game. That's all.
They'll be 11-7. Yeah, if they lose in their next games, they've got the Chargers still to play in that run there. They've got the Commanders twice, so obviously that shouldn't be a problem because the Commanders are not a good football team. Are not a good football team here, but they've got the Chargers, they've got the Commanders twice, they've got the Raiders, but they've got the Bills as well. So they could lose to the Chargers and the Bills here. And if they lose those games and the Cowboys win out, they could lose the NFC East division title there. Jay, do you see Nick Sirianni's job being under pressure if they do lose the NFC East title?
It shouldn't be, but all this noise coming out of Philadelphia is insane. Unless Laurie steps in and fires him, I don't think Howie fires him. I think Howie gets football, and I think Howie understands it. So instead of Laurie, if Laurie steps in and like, nah, you're going to get rid of him, then it is. I just don't understand the hate that he gets from his own fans. That's the shit that blows my mind, right? Like, how the fuck do you get so much hate from your own fans? All right, Maddie, so you're talking about running the table. Well, you better beat those Chargers. Yeah. You better beat those Lions, and you better beat those Chargers. Good luck.
Got to beat
the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or the next 3 weeks are going to determine your season. I think you'll beat the Vikings unless Max Brosmer becomes the next fucking coming of a quarterback. But
Sam Darnold.
Good luck with the. I'm not that you can't do it, but that your fucking season can come down to Cowboys Chargers. It literally could come down to Lions Chargers. That's what the Cowboys season can literally come down to.
Yeah,
you'll fuck around and lose to the Chargers. You're gonna fuck around and lose to the Commanders just to fuck yourself. Watch.
Commanders. Yeah. Jaden Daniels will come back just for that game and be unbelievable. Like that's what will happen. But the Cowboys.
I think you're making the playoffs.
Yeah, the Cowboys could, in theory, lose one of those 2 games and still make the playoffs because they'd be 10. What would they? They'd be 10-7-1. Like 10-7-1, you probably make the playoffs. At 10-7-1 if they lose one of those games, but if they run the table, they're in 11-6-1. They're in. And the Eagles have to do the same thing. The Eagles have to beat the Chargers. And
in a perfect world, we see Cowboys, Packers. That's in the playoffs that everybody wants to see.
Yeah, Cowboys, Packers. And just on the Nick Sirianni question, if they lose the NFC East title, who gives a fuck? It's if they go to the playoffs, if they're one and done, then the noise gets louder. The issue with Nick Sirianni is the noise not his job? Like, is the noise not his job to keep that quieter in the locker room and stuff like that as well? But it must be so hard to play in Philly. Their fans, they're top of the NFC East. they've got the NFC number one in their control, and they're getting booed as they walk, as they basically at the end of every drive, they're currently getting booed by their own fans. Currently as well, like they are. That is like, as you watch that game, it's just like they're getting booed, and that doesn't make anything easier. But they are playing some bad football, so fair play on them getting booed as well. But the Cowboys could make it. The Eagles could lose the division. It's a fun. It could be a fun division again. But Jay, you're right. The Cowboys have to win out from here. What a week of football we've already had, and guys, stay with us to go through the rest of the week, who you should bet and who our picks are. And we're on fire currently in those picks, so stay with us.
Me and Jay started Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions. That'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
Yeah, so guys, if you are watching and you fancy keeping us powered throughout these shows, you can buy us a coffee. Hit the QR code at the top there or go to the link in the description. Right, on to the rest of Sunday's football. And starting off, we have the Miami Dolphins, who are 5.5-point favorites against the New Orleans Saints here. The Dolphins are 5.5-point favorites coming off their win in Madrid, where they looked much better, much improved. But Jay, can Mike McDaniels keep his job if the Dolphins remain competitive and the run game continues to look good? Because Devon Achane has looked fantastic.
Well, can he? Yeah, because anything's possible in Miami. Should he? No. We've seen this. We've seen this play out for how many years now? Like, Miami has just been when they were starting to get better, they fire Brian Flores, okay, after trying to bribe him to lose games. Then they hire Mike McDaniels, which we haven't seen them make any kind of splash or run, and they've gotten worse since Brian Flores was there. They had an uptick quick for a year, but they've gotten worse. Like, what have we seen from McDaniel? I think the only reason people talk about him maybe keeping the job is because he's likable, because I don't know why you would even try that in Miami. And then, Maddie, you got a whole raid going on behind you.
Yeah, massive raid. We live on the road between the airport and the center, and obviously this is one of NATO's key positions where I live. So we get a lot of military police going back and forth, ferrying diplomats around. So that's what that probably is. But with that's not as fun. With Mike McDaniels. Yeah, it is weird. With Mike McDaniels, I don't think he should keep his job. I agree with you. I think he's an excellent run game coordinator. And, I like him a lot. Like, I like McDaniels. I like the way he coaches. It's just, I think he's an offensive coordinator or some, like, mad, fun college coach or whatever, who, like, one of those college coaches who, like, never punts the ball, is a crazy, mad scientist. And he has a good run game going there. And I think, in his defense, Miami, when you look at the offensive line, is shocking. Like, no one can get anything done. And the GM rightly got fired as well. There's some more going past there. The GM rightly got fired in his position because he hasn't put a good squad together either, and they've built from the outside and they're struggling to come in. But Mike McDaniels is part of that decision-making as well, and whatever the marriage is there, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work for Miami. Although, Jay, I do think they have a good enough run game to get past the Saints here. Can Tyler Shough tie down a position in the NFL if he plays well, or is his number up? He's basically just a bridge rookie for the Saints.
Well, I think he's probably their next 4 to 8 year backup is probably what we'll see out of him. That's where I think he probably lands in the NFL landscape. And there's this weird thing is, once you get a handful of games under your belt, it doesn't matter how you play. Teams are like, oh, we'll make him a backup because he has experience. So it gets weird like that in the NFL too with backups. Experience. Like I saw Vikings fans today all mad because what's his name? Is it Wolf? Fuck, whatever. The quarterback that used to be the backup in LA, and the Vikings went and signed him, and they're like, why are they taking LA scraps? And it's like, who the fuck are you going to sign on short notice to back up Brosmer that knows the system? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, and so, like, you end up with a quarterback where you're like, oh, fuck, this ain't the greatest idea, but we'll live with it. And this happens a lot in the NFL. It's like, it's not even about talent sometimes at the backup quarterback. It's how much does the quarterback like you because you're his eyes and ears? And then do you have any experience starting in the NFL?
Yeah, and I think the experience obviously means a lot. And like it is good for him to come out and get experience. But if I'm the New Orleans Saints fans, I'm keeping a real look on those. I'm basically gonna go watch my quarterback of the future on Saturdays, not on Sundays. That's where I'm going. If I'm the New Orleans Saints fans, I think they've got the right coach in place. I think they could start building the right team, and they will find the right quarterback. Not in this next draft. I think Tyler Shough will be playing for them next year, but in the draft after, I think that's when they'll go and get their quarterback. The New Orleans Saints. But Jay, in this game, they're 5.5-point dogs to the Miami Dolphins. Who have you got in this one?
Give me the Dolphins -5.5. I think they're still good enough to cover because they're both bad teams, but I think both of them are really bad teams.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins' run game is good enough to win them games. Although Alvin Kamara is out for the Saints, Devin Neal is the running back for the Saints to be taking over against Miami, who have one of the worst run defenses in the league. As well, very tempted to play him in fantasy this week, but I don't think he's going to get in. And we'll talk about that in fantasy players to watch later in the show. So keep on track for that. Jay, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-point favorites against the Houston Texans. Jay, can the Houston Texans defense cause enough problems to stop the Colts offense?
I don't think so, just because the Texans are going to have to put up a ton of points. Well, put up points too. So, and I think the Colts defense is going to be just on fire. I love what the Colts are doing. People still don't realize Sauce is still getting used to the scheme. I like what they're doing. Jonathan Taylor is going to be a handful, which makes life easier on Daniel Jones. I think they'll be able to spark enough offense to get enough points to beat the Texans. And I'm not going to lie, when I looked this up last night, the spread was 3.5, and I was already taking the Colts. So I'm really loving this 3 on this game because I don't know if I'm the only one, but I think the Colts are truly a Super Bowl contender. And as crazy as that sounds, I think Danny Dimes can lead them to the promised land.
Yeah, you got the Colts at 4.5 as well when we did our best bets on Tuesday. So they've just continued to tumble as we've been going. Jay, I do think a lot of people are going on kind of Danny Dimes taking that step back, right? But Danny Dimes hasn't taken a step back.
Yes, thank you.
Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes hasn't taken a step back. He's the same player. Like he's the same. Like he's the same guy. Like all the way through. He's PFF graded as 18, and he has but the Colts have the highest EPA per play. EPA per play in the NFL. And it's like, well, that he's just middle of the road, and it means all the stuff around him is great. And that's all Danny Jones has ever had to do. All he's ever had to be is when he has good people around him, when he has a good offense, he can run that offense, and he is good enough to do that. He's good enough to be an NFL starting quarterback in this league as well. Like Daniel Jones doesn't have to be amazing. He just has to be average, and the Colts will be good enough. But in this game, Jay, Daniel Jones could struggle because the Houston Texans are the best defense in the league, in my opinion. They cause serious problems for all quarterbacks. And Jay, in the last 3 games, I think it is, Daniel Jones has had 10 turnovers. What do you think of that?
And that was what I was going to say at the end of this is watch. Daniel Jones plays smart football, 0 turnovers this game. People, and Not that all of them are this way, but we got to figure out a way to stop giving quarterbacks turnovers on tip balls. That is the wildest. I don't know how we go. I don't know how you get around it either, but it does skew things. And I think Daniel Jones, I mean, like if you look at it, would you rather have Danny Dimes or Aaron Rodgers this year? Would you rather have Daniel Jones?
I'd rather.
Would you rather have Daniel Jones?
I'd rather have
Jalen Hurts this year. That's kind of where I put it. Like, I like Daniel Jones better than both of them this year.
Yeah, and I always kind of stood up for Daniel Jones a little bit when he was a Giant. I was very much on the side of the Giants are terrible. Like, the Giants are a really, really bad football team. Like, let's put Daniel Jones, like, in theory, let's put Daniel Jones around, because I saw him against, he plays really well against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, he always played quite well against the Cowboys in those games as well. Like, let's see him around some decent football teams. So I like Daniel Jones. He does have a real problem fumbling in the pocket, and he gets fidgety in the pocket. And if you can collapse the pocket around him, which is what this Houston Texans team does. And Jay, on the other side of the ball, the Colts are good defensively, but is Davis Mills actually better for the Texans in their current situation than CJ Stroud? CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Davis Mills, but in their current situation, is he better?
I fucking laughed. I can't even believe it. I fucking laughed. I can't even believe that. No. He's not. CJ Stroud is way more talented. I get the question. I do, but I had to just get up and depart after that one because I was like, that is wild. Little Davis Mills, or as they call him on Pat, Dougie Mills. I think he's a great backup. I don't think we're ever going to see him as a starter in the NFL unless it's filling in for a injured quarterback. I don't think he's the type of guy that we're going to see in the offseason when you're searching for a quarterback that you're like, you know what? You know who's going to stabilize us this year? It's Davis Mills. I don't see that. Also, I think that Daniel Jones gets crushed because people can't forget the idea that he tripped over the 20-yard line twice in his career on a wide-open run to the end zone. Like, he was as dysfunctional as the Giants at times, and I think people can't get over that. And I'm like, Shane Steichen is changing life for Daniel Jones. That team, and Shane Steichen's, like, scheming and getting them open, and they're still winning games after, like, bad turnovers. I think that's the sign of a good team. If you can win and overcome those mistakes and then eliminate those mistakes before the playoffs, I think that just makes you stronger as a team. And I don't know why I feel like outside of Indianapolis, I'm the only guy waving that Colts flag, I feel like, at times right now. But I'm waving that fucker.
Yeah, for me, Jay, the Texans' defense is so good, and Davis Mills, like, he's not better than CJ Stroud. He gets the ball out faster than CJ Stroud, but that's because CJ Stroud has big playability. So CJ Stroud is holding onto the ball longer because he has the option to hold the ball longer and still make big plays, whereas Davis Mills just doesn't have that option. So he needs to get rid of the ball faster. Jay, for me, I'm taking the Texans in this one. I think the Texans' defense is so good. So we'll see. And the Colts have been on a real struggle towards this part of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win. I wouldn't bet this game, but Jay, it's a best bet for you. So all right.
I want to make a quick
Colts in that one.
I want to say this: take a deep breath, think about it, and if you want, at the end of the show, we'll allow you to change that pick. All right, move on. All right, here we go.
Okay. The New York Jets go up against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 3-point favorites. Jay, Kirk Cousins goes up against Tyrod Taylor. Who will have the better game in this one?
Fuck, if this ain't the game of the who gives a shit bowl, like this, nobody gives a shit bowl. That's what this one is. See, and here's the thing now. So I had this game picked, and now the spread went up on me. So this makes me now question all of my decisions on this game because the spread moved a half a point on me. And that's how bad these teams are, is that a half a point has me questioning what to do. The truth is, the Falcons should come out and own this game because the Jets have been so awful. And yes, the Jets have a decent defense and they can make – but Kirk Cousins has so much experience. There should be nothing that they throw at him that he hasn't seen before. But I have zero faith in that Atlanta coaching staff, zero, which makes this game so hard to pick.
Yeah, Jay, for me, I think it's, to be honest, the Falcons are one of my best bets. They were one of my best bets at 2.5. I'm taking them at 3 in this one as well. And it's largely just because the Falcons are completely unreliable on the offensive side of the ball when they really shouldn't be. They have an incredible array of talent. They have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier should be going and getting a starting job where he's the lead running back in a different team and taking a huge payday next season. But they have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. They shouldn't be having a problem running their offense, and Kirk Cousins shouldn't be having a problem running the offense through that. But the most important thing is their pass defense is one of the best in the NFL. Like their run defense, they have other issues with their defense. They're a bit inconsistent, but their pass rush and pass defense is statistically one of the best in the NFL. And that is going up against Tyrod Taylor with no wide receivers. So the Jets will not be able to pass the ball, which means the Falcons can sell out and they can run the ball. They can stop the run as well. Give the fucking ball to Bijan Robinson. Get the ball in the hands of your best players as well. I'm taking the Falcons in this one, and it's all because I don't think the Jets can actually stop the Falcons' run game if they give it to Bijan, and I don't think the Falcons can pass. I don't think the Jets can pass.
All right, so I had the Falcons before we started. I don't know why my gut's telling me Breece Hall is going to have a huge game. My gut's telling me the Jets are going to squeak this one out, but I made a decision the other day that I'm stopping second-guessing myself because anytime I write it down and then change it, it blows up in my face. So I'm just staying with the Falcons, even though I don't love it.
Every time I put it in the spreadsheet and then I change it, I always lose that one. So I stick to the spreadsheet whenever I put it on. I think that's the right call, Jay. Falcons going forward and winning that one. Jay, the Cleveland Browns are going up against the San Francisco 49ers in the snow and wind of Cleveland. The 49ers are 5.5-point favorites. 5.5 points seems like a lot in the conditions that they're going to be playing in, but especially with Brock Purdy at quarterback, we know he struggles in these conditions. Jay, how will Brock Purdy fare in the snow and wind in Cleveland?
I think that we're just talking about Brock Purdy. I think he'll make good decisions, check short passes, get the ball out of his hands. I don't think if the conditions are bad, he's going to take a lot of deep shots, and I don't think the 49ers have to take deep shots to win. I did write down, I don't know if anybody can see my phone, probably not. I wrote down, I'll go with the 49ers up to -6. That's what I wrote in my notes. So
okay,
give me the 49ers in this one because I went to -6. I think Shedeur will play all right. I think that the Cleveland Browns have a great defense, but I think Christian McCaffrey and that 49ers offensive line and the way they pull Juszczyk and the way they pull on Kittle and they make the run game confusing on the defense will be enough to get them over the hump in this game. So I think they'll beat Cleveland, and I think they'll beat them by around a touchdown. So give me them in the -5.5, 49ers -5.5.
I think Brock Purdy looks so bad against the Panthers. Like, the only reason that the 49ers came out with a win against the Panthers is because Breece Hall looked equally as bad on the other side of the ball. The 49ers, I don't think, can put up a great defense. Like, their defense isn't strong either, especially their run defense, because the Browns...
Do they have to be against the Browns?
The Browns can run the ball. The Browns have got a really great run offense, like throughout the year. They've ran the ball really well. When you can't sell out on the fact that they can't pass the ball, they're one of my best bets. The Browns are one of my best bets this week.
You're going to have a rough... I don't know why I feel like your best bets are on a rough ride, but I could be wrong. But I gotta feel... I don't know why. I just feel like, damn, Maddie took some wild best bets. Maybe you'll hit them all. I don't know. Did you have one play yet?
I picked the Bears this week. This week.
Yeah.
I got the Bears 1-0. I got the Bears.
So
at
you're
1-0.
1-2 no matter what happens.
So
At worst.
like
at worst.
3-0.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah,
at worst you're 1-2. So you're in a good position. I'm not saying you're going to lose the other two. All I was saying is by already having that one win, you're in a good position because at worst you're 1-2. You go 50%. You're still 2-1. Great week and the best bets. That's what I was getting at. I get it. Came out sounding wild, but no, I was getting at. You're in a good position to win your best bets this week.
Yeah, I think the Browns with a bit of extra juice from Shedeur Sanders, like they get way more juice now at the quarterback position than they did with Dylan Gabriel. Like Dylan Gabriel in these conditions wouldn't have been able to do it. They get a bit more juice. You have to respect the run game. They can go get it. You have to respect the pass game. And then Jay, the big important thing is here is the Browns defense is unbelievable. They've just come off a 10-sack game. I know it's against the Raiders, but how much better is the 49ers offensive line than the Raiders? Realistically, how much better is it?
10,000?
How much better? It's
10,000 times better.
They player for player.
Do you
player
watch
for player,
Christian McCaffrey?
No.
Without that offensive line, Christian McCaffrey can't go. That offensive line changes life for Christian McCaffrey.
This is all I need to see from.
Well, that just proves I'm right. That proves I'm right. Where Freezes even says he is the worst at betting football. So there you go. Proves my point.
Shit.
But how does Christian McCaffrey be Christian McCaffrey without a good offensive line? I mean, when they're pulling guards and moving Kittle and Juszczyk, which are part of their offensive line because they're an extension with the tight end and the fullback, I don't understand how we question the 49ers offensive line.
Yeah, on the other side of this, I do love the Browns linebacker room. Actually, I really, really enjoy Carson Schlesinger. Like every time I watch him play, he looks amazing, and he reminds me of Van Ginkel. And one of the reasons why the Vikings have the 49ers number, is because of Van Ginkel. Is because they're able to do stuff to Christian McCaffrey that no one else can do because they have a linebacker who can go with him. And
they've had their number since Colin Kaepernick.
But
the 49ers haven't beat the Vikings in like 7 years or like 10 years or something wild. But the crazy thing to me is like the hate you have for the 49ers. Like, let's not forget that Matty's the one who gave them 5 wins this year. 5. At the preseason. 5 wins. Matty has this ridiculous hatred for the 49ers. And don't forget, Rob Saleh is going to make Shedeur Sanders' day a living hell.
Yeah, I think they'll just keep it on the ground. I think it's Brock Purdy's going to turn the ball over. He's going to get sacked plenty. Like, I don't see this being a big scoring game. So I think 5.5 points, that's quite close. Okay, let's move on. Jay's taking the 49ers in this one. We could be there for a while on this one. Jay, the Carolina Panthers are going up against the Rams. The Rams are 10-point favorites. Jay, the only worry I have in this one is the Panthers are genuinely one of the most confusing teams in the league.
Yeah. The Panthers do shock people while they're playing. I think sometimes these teams play down to their competition, and I think that's why the Panthers have played some closer games. I think they think they're going to beat them, and then they come in, and next thing they know, they're in the fourth quarter going, how the fuck are we not up by like 14 points right now? But I don't think you'll ever have that problem with the Rams. I don't think Sean McVay will ever let the Rams come in underestimating a team. And you and I were talking before we went on camera, a short list of MVP, and Matt Stafford's on that short list of MVP candidates right now. Devontae Adams has found his place with the Rams. You know what I mean? Fitting in with Puka Nacua. It's starting to work really well, giving them weapons. I don't know. I really like they're not the best in the league, but I really like what that defense does at times to confuse people, to create pressure. And then again, we go back to their offense. It's a Sean McVay offense with a ton of talent, and somehow they figure out how to revamp their offensive line on the fly. It seems like every 2 years, and we all have these questions going in the year, and they're like, well, they're good enough. You know what I mean? So I really like what the Rams are doing. I'm taking the Rams -10. I picked this last night, and again, I'm not moving off of it, even though I don't love double-digit spreads, and I would suggest people, for the most part, stay away from this game.
Don't bet this one.
Sorry, I was reading.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet this one.
Posts.
I wouldn't bet this one either. I think the Rams. I'm taking the Rams as well. I agree. They have one of the best. They're going to make Bryce Young look bad. I think they have one of the better defenses in the league, and then they're so efficient on the offensive side of the ball. Also, big shout out to Blake Corum, who's coming out. He's basically splitting the backfield with Kyron Williams now, so they kind of have like an underrated two-headed monster in the backfield there as well. But I'm going to take the Rams at this one. It feels like a bit of a no-win game for the Rams. Like, if they lose this game, like, which could happen because the Panthers are have the potential to be a good football team. Like, if they lose this game, it's going to be really shit for them. But if they win, no one's going to say anything either. So it's just one of those games where it's just like a complete no-win game.
But if you look at the records, this is kind of like an important win for them on. This is one of the teams that we should win, so we better win for the playoff records. But I want to see Freezes' ass in the comments on Thursday so I can talk all kinds of shit to both of you about the Browns.
All right, Jay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites going up against the Arizona Cardinals in the last game in the early window. How much of a difference does Baker Mayfield playing make for this game? It is confirmed that he's coming out and playing, I believe.
More than the 10,000 times better I gave the offensive line of the 49ers, because I am a Teddy Bridgewater fan. I had my Teddy two-glove shirt back in the day, but that is not the answer for the Bucs, and they really need to like accumulate some wins going into this playoff run at the end of the year. I think Baker Mayfield playing is huge for them. And to me, if Teddy was, I have it right here in my notes. If Teddy plays, I'm taking the Cardinals. If Baker plays, I'm taking the Bucs. I wrote it right in my notes. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's how much of a difference it makes to me in this game, because Baker's tough as nails. He's more accurate than people give him credit for, and he just has that winning will that you need at the end of the game. I do think Baker is one of those guys that can throw a team on his back for a quarter like you need to in the playoffs and go, I got you.
Yeah, I think with I think with Baker Mayfield playing, you know, we've seen it. We've seen what happens when he plays injured. We saw it in Cleveland. Like, this could be bad for him. But I do think, Jay, it does make a big difference because he just has to make a couple of big plays. The Cardinals against the run have struggled. The Bucs run, Bucky Irvin seems to be coming back. It sounds like he's got a few mental health issues recovering from the injury as well, which could be something to watch out for. But, you know, with Sean Tucker out there, Bucky Irvin seems to be back in as well, and Rachaad White, I think they're going to lean on the run game here. Baker's not going to have to do loads, and I think the Bucs will come out with the win. Jay, do the Bucs actually have enough to hold the Cardinals' passing game here? Because Marvin Harrison Jr. is still out with an illness, it seems like. But the Cardinals are getting good passing stats, and the Bucs struggle in the pass game. Can the Cardinals put the Bucs receivers on an island and go out and get this win?
So I think the Bucs will win, but I also have faith in the Cardinals to move the ball. Jacoby Brissett to pick up some points. I don't think they need Marvin Harrison Jr. We've seen that with Jacoby Brissett because he's like that machine type quarterback. He just wants to get the ball out, open guy, move the chains, keep the sticks moving. I think that has a lot to playing behind Tom Brady, you know, helps that. I think Jacoby Brissett is a guy we could see starting for a team next year too. He's not, I don't think he's the guy that a team's looking for and go, yeah, we're going to sign him for the next 4 years. But I do think he's that Ryan Fitzpatrick bridge quarterback who can win you games. I like how Jacoby Brissett plays. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Cardinals to like put it together when it's on the line. If they can catch a lead and they can hold the lead, that's when we see them win. I don't find them to be a team that's going to win in these dogfights. And I do find Baker to be war-tested, battle-tested, and to be one of those guys that'll win. And it only being a 3-point spread makes me think that a a lot of people put some money on Arizona, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty confident in that Tampa Bay pick.
Yeah, and let's stay with the Bucs here. I did actually miss a game in our early window. The Tennessee Titans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are 5.5-point favorites. What steps do you want to see Jacksonville take before the playoffs to be able to make a run? Because it looks like they're going to creep in that wild card spot. They could still win their division, but it looks like they're definitely going to be in the wild card spot with the way that the Chiefs are playing and their tiebreaker against the Chiefs as well.
I don't know. They're getting bounced in the first round. That's just all I got to say. What I watch from the Jaguars is they can beat bad teams. They struggle against good teams. They're not doing the things we were hoping we would see from them. And then it just leaves more questions moving forward about Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what to think, and I refuse to stay in a toxic relationship. So I don't think the Jags will do anything great moving forward. But I will say this week I am taking the Jags in this game, but it's only because they're playing an awful Tennessee Titans team. And I had them at -7 and was taking them. Now that they're at -5.5, I'm for sure taking them.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of money has come down on the Titans in this game, which I was surprised about. Like, is Cam Ward good enough to steal a win? Like the Titans, they played the Seahawks pretty close last week. They've been in some games that they maybe shouldn't have been in when they had double-digit spreads. Are they good enough to steal a win here against the Jags team?
You are against the Jags because we don't know what to expect from the Jags. That's the problem. That's why I said even making the playoffs are one and done. And I feel like I'm in a toxic relationship, even though I'm taking the Jags this week. It's like I don't have any faith that they haven't made the steps. In the run game they have, but I'm saying with Trevor Lawrence, we haven't seen the steps that we were all hoping for with Liam Cohen. And is that just this year being the new system in there? I would say yes, except this is the same problems we've seen, that we've had questions about Trevor Lawrence through his whole career. And at what point, again, like Justin Herbert, am I not going to hold Trevor Lawrence accountable for not doing shit if I'm holding Justin Herbert accountable for not doing shit, right? And so it's like I feel with these two quarterbacks, I'm like, we're just always giving them excuses because we see the talent. But at some point, the talent doesn't fucking matter if you don't live up to it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the consistency is the big problem here for the Jaguars as well.
Damn! You got Jesus hit you with the Jaguars.
Jaguars. I think they're struggling. I think they're struggling for consistency here, but give me the Jaguars in this game as well. I don't think they're like the consistency is a problem, but player for player, they are better than the Tennessee Titans by at least a touchdown. So I've got to take them at this point here.
Does it worry you?
Jay, we're moving on to the week Sorry, go on.
Does that pick worry you?
I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't bet this game at all because I don't know who the Jaguars are going to be. I don't know who's showing up for any of them. Jay, we're moving on into the late window now, and we have your Minnesota Vikings going up against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are 11.5-point favorites in this one. Jay, is Max Brosmer the quarterback of the future in Minnesota?
Well, we're about to find out. I don't know. I can't, but I do know the Vikings coaching staff loves him. I know in the preseason and through the whole season, they have nothing but great things to say about him. I don't think they wanted him to play in year one at all. I think they wanted this to be J.J. McCarthy, get these reps. Yeah. So, again, this hurts. I said Tuesday, I said 250, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and I'm still sticking by that. I do think this is like a 27-35 type game, but I'm still going to just take the Seahawks to cover because if it goes bad, it's going to go bad the other way. So give me the Seahawks to cover, and I'm just watching this game to see how much we get out of Max Brosmer. There's this stupid meme going around that he's the first Gophers quarterback to start a game in the NFL. That is completely wrong, you guys. There is 4 Gophers quarterbacks who have started in the NFL besides him. So whoever's putting that bullshit out there, Zuckerberg needs to go back to fact checking.
Yes, for many reasons. I do think that Max Brosmer, has a lot of the good measurables to be an NFL quarterback, like 6'2". In his release point, he's one of the fastest to release the ball. I think it's like the NFL average is 0.45 and he's at 0.2 in time of release of the ball as well. So I think he has a lot of those measurables. So there's no reason why he couldn't be a great NFL quarterback. I just think if you're the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, Jake, your first job is to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. How does Kevin O'Connell make it easier for Brosma to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers here? Because Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, down season so far.
Well, and that's the thing. So they both had drops that are just unusual. Like, these guys don't drop. So this is that weird drop thing this year. But Kevin O'Connell has been scheming guys open for J.J. McCarthy. He's just been overthrowing them. So all Brosmer has to do is, complete the ball accurately, and he should have chances to get open receivers, move the ball. In college, he was great at getting through his progression, so we'll see if he can do that in the NFL. The only reason I know about Max Brosmer a lot is because they're one of the Badgers' big rivals, right? We have the Paul Bunyan game and all of that shit, and we always play in the last game of the season. So I pay attention to Big Ten teams, especially original Big Ten teams, because the Big Ten got so big now it's hard to follow SC and Oregon and all the other teams that are in there now, but the originals. And I'm not a Gopher fan, but I did enjoy watching Max Brosmer play at the college level for the year. For the year with the Gophers, he was, a 5-year starter in college. I think that matters too, all that experience. But my question for you, Maddie, is I know what they already said they're going to do, but what happens if Max Brosmer comes out, throws for 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and wins the game? What do you do going into next week when J.J. McCarthy is healthy?
J.J. McCarthy's injury is much worse than we thought. He's actually going to have to sit another week. His recovery has had a step back that we had him for. I feel like that's the kind of thing that you should be saying. I don't know. I think you need to know what you have in J.J. McCarthy this season. I'd probably err on the side of playing him more than not playing him. If I'm the Vikings, they need to know. You have to know. So you need to give J.J. McCarthy as much time as you can. Do you have to know if for some reason Max is the future? Then it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, that's 100%. I'm just playing devil's advocate. You might I do think you have to know with JJ because he's your first round pick. He's shown such promise. JJ McCarthy, I think, has shown more promise than I think people are giving him credit for. You mentioned the drops. JJ McCarthy's completion percentage could be about 8 to 10% higher if the Minnesota Vikings players caught those passes, his completion percentage, because he's actually had so few attempts in his NFL career. 10 drop passes in a game destroys his completion percentage across his career and stuff like that as well. So, I think his completion percentage is better than you think. I think there's been issues with he's played with a terrible offensive line. So I give him another crack at it as well. But if Brosmer comes in and looks great, maybe you play the hot hand till the end of the year and then you have a true quarterback competition when you come in. The real problem here though, Jay, is one of the shorts that kind of went off, I think got a few hundred views last week was me saying how good the Seattle Seahawks defense is. They're top five. They're top 5 in basically every measurable, the Seattle Seahawks defense, and they don't get the same love that the Broncos or the Texans or the Browns do. Is this one of the toughest starts you can get as a rookie QB coming up against the Seattle Seahawks defense here? It is, but this isn't a shot. But I don't put their defense is really fucking good, so don't take that away. I don't put them up there with the Broncos because I've watched the Broncos shut down some of the best offenses in the NFL. I watched the Broncos play Patrick Mahomes, and I watched the Broncos play these AFC monsters. So I think the Broncos are just on a different level, but that's not to take away from the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are great, but that's the thing. This is where a guy I don't know if Max Brosmer is this guy, but this is where a guy ball out of the hands quick, open receiver,
3, 4 yards if we have to, every pass play, try to open up some run games. That's the kind of the quarterback you need against the Seahawks. You don't want a guy that holds the ball too long. You don't want a guy who's going to try to fit it into windows they shouldn't, because there's times these corners can be ball hawks. There's times you hold that ball too long, you're getting hit from the blind side. Like, this defense is really good, but I think they're going to keep Rosmer out of your hands quick, this and that, you know what I mean, short pass. But I still think it's a really rough game for any quarterback to play, so good luck for a rookie. But again, I still think somehow he ends up with 250, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I don't know why. My brain keeps telling me this.
I think Seattle also put you in the place of a shootout, don't they? Which puts more pressure on the quarterback position as well, just because of the way, like, they can score so quickly. They have the most 20+ yard plays in the league. They can score so fast. Maybe it's them or New England, but they're definitely one of those two. But they score so fast, they can put you in the space of, oh, I need to score. I need to make a big play. But Jay, just the final question on this game before we make our picks on this one are the Vikings in a good situation to make Sam Darnold have one of those games where he really struggled, like the 4 turnover games like he had against the Rams, and he had a different one against the Texans as well?
It is a good question, because I have been thinking they know him so well. Can they do it? But then I also think he knows this defense so well for a year of playing against them that it's an interesting take. I'm still taking the Seahawks at the -10, even though I don't love the big spreads. Or it's 11.5 now. It moved even better.
11.5, yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Give me the Vikings to cover at 11.5, but I still think they lose.
I think new quarterback bump, Brian Flores against, I think that kind of Brian Flores defense against Sam Darnold could cause some serious problems as well. And I do think, like, just getting the ball into the Vikings have played much. It's not just JJ McCarthy. The whole team has played much worse than what their talent level is. 11.5 is huge for me. Give me the Vikings in that one.
I was going to go with them at 10. I was going to go with the Seahawks at 10, but I saw that 11.5, and I'm like, I think the Vikings do score 24 to 27 points. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's huge. We're going to have to power through a couple of these games to get there before kick off here. But Jay, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going up against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are 3-point favorites, but they're missing both of their tackles due to injury. Could this be a problem for the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, it definitely could be a problem when you're missing both of your tackles, because your quarterback's not as athletic as he used to be either. It's not like Aaron Rodgers is going to like run for 130 yards or something.
The Bills are missing both of that.
I think this could be a big problem. Oh,
sorry, Jake.
See, I listen to you and I get right down the wrong path.
The Bills are missing both of that.
You know what? It makes more sense. But no, it does make more sense on the point spread at this point, right? Because I was sitting here wondering what the fuck on the point spread. Yeah, when you feature TJ Watt and you got to put up a backup, it becomes a problem. But here's the thing. I don't trust the Steelers' defense at all when it comes to playing defense. I'm starting to feel like their old secondary is becoming a problem, where I didn't think Jalen Ramsey would be getting burnt the way he is, just playing off intelligence. Big play Slay is no longer big play, right? So then you're down to Joey Porter Jr., it's a big question. Anytime you play against Josh Allen, it's a problem. But we've seen that we saw the Bills shit the bed just 2 weeks ago too. Like, we just seen the Bills shit the bed.
The Texans,
yeah. So it makes it weird. Aaron Rodgers, did they say he's playing? Because last time I checked, it said expected. Do we know if he's playing for sure?
Expected to play is what I've got, but let me just quickly.
I'm looking. Either way, I'm taking the Bills in this game, but I don't love it.
Aaron Rodgers still expected to play. I'm not sure how much of a step back Mason Rudolph is just in this game. Obviously, Mason Rudolph is worse than Aaron Rodgers, but in this game, is Mason Rudolph that much worse than Aaron Rodgers, just because of the game plan that the Steelers are going to go with. The game plan the Steelers are going to go with is they're going to run the ball. The Bills have one of the worst run defenses in the league. They've just come off a game where they've been beaten up by the Houston Texans because they like Josh Allen is only so good. And Josh Allen, when he has to go through Superman, we're starting to see those panic plays set in when the touchdowns come in. We saw it against the Bucs where he ended up going true Superman and scoring 6 touchdowns after having a rocky start. But then against the Texans, he really struggled. And the Bills can't control anything because they can't defend the run. It's not something that they can take. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one. I wasn't going to until I realized that both of the tackles were out in this one. Jay's taking the Bills in that one as well. So I've got the Steelers. Jay's got the Bills in that one. Jay, the Los Angeles Chargers are 10-point favorites against the Raiders. The Raiders, how can they do anything with as bad as an interior offensive line as they have? They've just given up a 10-sack game to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I don't know what you do, except just hope for next year at this point, right? You do what you can to get through this year to next year. Geno has been completely awful. The defense has been awful. The only saving grace on that fucking team pretty much is Max Crosby. They fired the whole offensive coaching staff. I mean, they're already in disarray by week 13. So what do we expect to change with Las Vegas in the next 4 games, right? Like, there's not much that can change. So I think they're just going to have to ride this out and try to figure it out moving forward in the draft and in the offseason. I am so shocked at, I didn't think they'd be great, but I am so shocked at how bad the Raiders are this year.
Yeah, it's once your interior offensive line is as bad as it is, you're giving up 10 sacks. I know it's against the Browns who have Myles Garrett, who's the sack leader in the NFL. So that is semi-excusable, but 10 sacks is ridiculous. Against the Chargers team where they're starting to step back up again. They're just incredibly inconsistent, but they've started to move back with the injuries getting a bit better. Their defensive line started to come back. Jay, 10 points in this one. Who you got?
Give me the Chargers, but I don't love it.
Yeah, don't love the point spread for this Chargers team. The Chargers are quite inconsistent. They don't move the ball very well consistently. So 10 points is a lot. The Raiders can't get anything going. And the Raiders moving forward, they have to basically do what the Broncos did at the start of this season and just throw all their money and all of their draft picks at the offensive line, get players that they know can play guard and center, and just throw the money at it for whoever your quarterback is going to be back there next season, whether it's Kyler Murray, whether it's Mendoza, whoever you can pick up. I've got the Chargers as well in that one as well. Moving on to Sunday night football, the Washington Commanders are going up against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are 6.5-point favorites. Jaden Daniels is out in this one. Jay, are you surprised by how bad the Commanders' defense has been? And is this the kind of game that Bo Nix has to be taking over if we're going to be convinced that he is the quarterback of the future in Denver?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm shocked or whatever that they're this bad, but this is what we talked about in the offseason with Dan Quinn. They'll get better at defense, and they haven't. They haven't gotten better at defense. Yeah. They've actually gotten worse than last year, and so that's a problem. And where they're at in the season, I'm not playing Jaden Daniels unless he's 100% healthy. Why would we risk him at? And it just I don't care what people say. This is a quiet tanking for better picks, because why put Jaden Daniels out there when you don't have to, and you just get better picks. You get Jaden Daniels healthy. I don't love the fact that defense didn't get better, and it makes me question Dan Quinn a little bit, but I'm not going to get too overly, judgmental about it, because we'll give him another offseason. But this is the things that we thought Dan Quinn were going to fix in the offseason, and he didn't.
Yeah, I think with the players he's got, I don't think I'm that surprised. They've been very injured as well. They've had a lot of injury issues. They just didn't fix. They didn't fix the problems that they had on the defensive side of the ball. They made it to an NFC Championship game probably a season too early. Jaden Daniels has been injured. Terry McLaurin's been injured. Deebo Samuel had an injury at the start of the season as well. They've just struggled throughout the season with injury on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've just struggled in general. They didn't really retool well enough on the defensive side of the ball. here. So I don't think I'm surprised that the Commanders were that bad, but I'm surprised that Dan Quinn hasn't been getting more from them. I agree with you on that one, Jay. On the other side of the ball, I also think, just on the Denver Broncos side, but also on the Commanders side, the Denver Broncos are so fucking good on defense, and they put so much pressure on the quarterback. Unless Jaden Daniels is 100% healthy, you're really making the right decision not to put him up against this Broncos defense as well, because they come to eat, they come to sack your quarterback. Nick Bonito is joint with the highest speed rushes in the league as well. Is close to being the sack leader in the NFL as well. So really the right decision. But do we really need to see more from Bo Nix for the Denver Broncos here? Is this one of those games where he could just set off and set the record straight on how good he is as a quarterback?
No, because that was what I was going to say about this point spread. The Broncos should cover it without a problem, but they don't put up points in bunches. They don't play that type of football. So they do make me a little nervous because a lot of times they play some tight games where I'm like, this game shouldn't be that close, even though you figure out a way to win it in the end. Bo Nix at crunch time seems to be that guy, and we're watching him develop it, throughout the rest of the game. I also think that Sean Payton plays a certain style of football that doesn't lead you to have big blowouts. So I don't think that it comes down to Bo Nix. I think we're going to watch Bo Nix do his Bo Nix thing, take care of the football, move the chains, be a really efficient quarterback, which is what Sean Payton needs. I don't think we're going to see a big breakout game from Bo Nix because I just don't think that's how Sean Payton calls a football game.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos the Washington Commanders have been bottom 5 in run defense and bottom 5 in pass defense in the NFL this season. Jay, I'm picking the Denver Broncos in this one to win by at least a touchdown. Who have you got?
Double that.
Yeah, Broncos there. And Jay, the final game of this week that will be closing out on Monday Night Football. It's been a long week this week, but the New England Patriots are 7.5-point favorites against the Giants. Jay, Jackson Dart is back in. Is this a game where he can watch Drake May, a guy who was in the same position as him last year?
Learn from Drake May, learn from what he's doing. I don't know how much you get from watching another quarterback on the sideline. I like that Jackson Dart's back. They'll get him as much reps as you can, get him as many reps as you can. Make sure that, he's all ready for next season. I think the Giants are set up to have a nice little core moving forward for a new coach. Why they still have the same GM is fucking beyond me, but this is the same guy who fucked up the whole Saquon Barkley thing, the whole Danny Dimes situation, but yet we're just going to keep him and get rid of the coach. That's wild to me. Unless they wait till the end of the season, then just fire the GM and move with a clean slate. I think Jackson Dart is doing all the right things. Learn as much as you can. You're in a bad situation as a rookie because, again, your head coach is fired. Drake May is the guy that we were wrong on. We were completely wrong. Drake May is the best quarterback in that draft class. Drake May is the top fucking young quarterback in the NFL right now, and I think the Patriots are doing everything right. I am so shocked on how good the Patriots have got so fast. I expected to see a jump, but the fact that they're playing this well is just fucking amazing. And I know people hate it, but I get excited about shit like this. This is the kind of shit I like to watch in sports. I like to watch about the team who shocks you, and I like to watch greatness. So are we in the run for with my overreaction, the Patriots dynasty? I don't know. I think this is a bad game for the Giants because I think they're going to get beat up in this game. But I am glad to see Jackson Dart back because it makes it more fun to watch.
Yeah, I think with Jackson Dart, where he can learn the most from Drake May is in that, like, Drake May last season was making big plays but getting the shit kicked out of him because the Patriots' offensive line was so horrible. And Jackson Dart is in the same position where Jackson Dart is getting the shit kicked out of him and he's trying to run the ball so much and he needs to learn to run without putting his head down and getting fucking concussions. Because he needs to be available. The best ability is availability as a quarterback, after all. So he needs to make sure that he's not getting too many concussions. Jay, I think the Giants are really dangerous. I think they're a dangerous football team, especially with Jackson Dart. As you say, next year they'll have Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboom, Malik Neighbors back. Tyron Tracy will be in the backfield for a monster. They have Abdul Carter on the other side of the ball, which I've seen some people calling him a bust. Abdul Carter's played fine. Like, he's been okay. But Abdul Carter, Brian Burns is looking good as well for them. Dexter Lawrence is maybe taking a bit of a step back. I think the Giants could be really dangerous in this game. The point spread of 7.5, I feel is probably a touchdown is about right. Because the Patriots they've played the Bengals. They played the Bengals close within a touchdown in that game. They played the Buccaneers within a touchdown in that game. They played the Falcons. They only beat the Falcons by 1 point as well. That's 3 out of the last 4 games that they've played really close. I'm going to take the Jets in this. I'm going to take the Giants in this one. Sorry, because I think they can be dangerous and more than a touchdown. I think that'll be close. Than that, with Jackson Dartin, Jay, I guess you're taking the Patriots, right?
Yes, this could be a 9-point spread, and I take the Patriots.
Fair enough. More disagreement than normal in our show this week. Let's see if we disagree with fantasy players to watch. It's 4 minutes until the start of the early window. Jay, who is your fantasy player to watch?
All right, I got one in an honorable mention. Running back, Pittsburgh Steelers, Gainwell, seen a surge in his usage, carries, targets. Good start for playing the Bills. Weak running game. That's a good start. And then, you guys, he's probably on the wire everywhere. Go get you some Troy Franklin, wide receiver from the Denver Broncos. He's been coming on as of late, and his targets have been going up. Bo Nix and him really seem to have a connection, so go get you some Troy Franklin.
He's not on the wire, Jay, because he is my fantasy player to watch, and he is in my flex position this week. He is getting double the amount of targets as Cortland Sutton since week 8. Him and Bo Nix aren't having the most efficient connection, but they are starting to connect and starting to get on it as well. And the Commanders can't stop the pass at all. I really agree with your Kenneth Gainwell. Takes you a good job. You came up with an honorable mention there because we've gone for the same. We've gone for the same guy for your honorable mention and at my flex position.
Before we get out of here quick, just for everybody else, we're in a 14-team league. He is probably floating around in your fucking waiver wires, most likely.
Yeah, gotta be on most teams, or at least tradable. So watch out for how he does in this season. And he's tradable. He plays in the late window, so he's not up there as well. All right,
Bricks, what's up, bro? Thanks for tapping in.
That is it. We are 2 minutes out. Let me go through the betting for everyone who wants to get their bets in 2 minutes before the start here. Me and Jay have taken, we've both taken the Dolphins. I've taken the Texans. Jay has taken the Colts. We've both taken the Falcons. I've taken the Browns. Jay has taken the 49ers. We've both took the Rams. We've both took the Jaguars. We've both took the Bucks. We've both took the Vikings. I have taken the Steelers. Jay has taken the Bills. We've both taken the Chargers. We've both taken the Broncos. And I have taken the Giants. And Jay has taken the Patriots to finish it out there. If you want to get your bets in, guys, and stick with us, then enjoy those bets.
Yes, and stay tuned next Thursday for our best bets of the week, because I'm going to bring a little thing I didn't tell Maddie. Maddie's going to do his best bets. I'm going to do my best bets. And then we're going to test a theory that's going on the internet. We're going to have ChatGPT give you their best bets and see who's better.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys, enjoy your Sunday of football. Jay, send us out like you always do.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching. It's about kickoff, so I'm not going to ramble. We got multiple shows on the channel. Hit the notification button so you don't miss any of them. And stay tuned, because behind the scenes, we're working on trying to figure out when we're going to roast the Brit and the winging it. So you'll have to see that, because he hasn't been roasted yet.
Oh, my God.
You said you were down, so now we're figuring it out. You
down.
agreed, now it's going to happen. All right, guys, thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.